It's now 6:30. Excuse me. I'd like to call to order the Regional Planning Commission public hearing for February the 2nd. And as customary, we'll start with the pledge, and I'll ask Commissioner Mills if he would please lead us in the pledge.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. And as I usually ask customarily, if you have a telephone or electronic device, that you either put it on vibrate or turn it off so it will not disrupt us during our meeting. I'll now come to you, Sarah, for roll call and determination of quorum.
Mr. Peterman?
Here.
Mr. Servan?
Here.
Mrs. Karcher?
Here.
Mr. Galvery?
Here.
Mr. Mills?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Jester?
Here.
So you have 7 present. You do have a quorum.
I thank you very much. Before you, you have an agenda for tonight's meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, I'll ask for a motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Servan?
Yes to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvery?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 7 yeas in favor of approving tonight's agenda.
Now I'll come right back to you again for the introduction and public hearing instructions.
Thank you. This public hearing is being conducted for the purpose of giving the citizens of the county the opportunity to present testimony on the applications before the commission. Everyone will have a chance to speak. All statements are to be made from the podium at the front of the room. All testimony given shall be sworn or affirmed. For the record, please give your name and address. Copies of any written statements or exhibits used during the hearing should be presented for identification and inclusion in the record. The record will remain open for 2 business days following the hearing. For each application before the commission, the chairman will introduce the application. Then the applicant or representative will be given 15 minutes to present the application. Then those in favor of the application will be allotted 5 minutes each to speak, and those opposed to the application will be allotted 5 minutes each to speak. When everyone has had an opportunity to give testimony, the hearing on the application will be closed. No decision will be made by the commission tonight. The commission will hold a public business meeting next Thursday, February 9th at 6:30 p.m., at which time it will make a decision on the applications heard tonight. All information of record will be considered, and a common vote of 4 members of the commission is required to make a decision. Anyone may attend the business meeting, but no new testimony will be received. The public notice of this hearing was published on January 13th in the Delaware State News, and the Kent County Levy Court will hear these applications on Tuesday, February 28th at 7 p.m., unless tabled by the Planning Commission or withdrawn prior to the Levy Court hearing. The Levy Court also meets in this room. Mr. Sharman.
Thank you very much. We'll now go in public hearing. First on the public hearing tonight under the revised data sheet is application entitled C-23-01 East Evans Community Solar Initiative. Applicant is East Evans Community Solar Initiative, LLC, care of Michael Redding, P.E., 282 Moody Street, Waltham, Maine, 02453. Owners are William Edgar Dill, Jr., James N. Dill, Wanda J. Stevens, and Robert S. Dill. Engineer is Becker Morgan Group, Incorporated, care of Michael Henry, 309 South Governors Avenue, Dover, Delaware, 19904. Comprehensive plan map designation is low density residential. Present zoning district is AR, agriculture residential. Relation to the growth zone is inside. Present use is agriculture. Proposed use is same with community energy generating facility, better known as solar. Levy Court District is the 5th, Mr. Sweeney. School District is Lake Forest. Fire district is Felton, Station 48. Area and location is 6.8798 plus or minus acres. Fence project area is 4.70 plus or minus acres. Located on the north side of East Evans Road, approximately 2,036 feet west of South DuPont Highway and approximately 1,416 feet east of South Main Street, east and adjacent to the town of Viola. Is there someone here to represent this application? Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Welcome again. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. My name is Mike Ryman with Becker Morgan Group. We are the engineers for the project. I have with me Michael Redding, who are the developers of the project with ECA Solar.
Address, Mr. Ryman.
Oh, sorry, 309 South Governors Avenue, Dover, Delaware.
Do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
Great. All right. So we are here tonight to request a conditional use for a community solar application, many of which I know this body has seen before. The standard is on the screen. We must show that we meet these 4 requirements in order to meet the conditional use standard. 1, that the location is appropriate, not in conflict with the comprehensive plan, that public health and safety will not be adversely impacted, that there's adequate off-street parking, and that necessary safeguards to protect surrounding property and persons is demonstrated. And as we go through the presentation tonight, we'll demonstrate that we meet those criteria. Also, as you're well aware, with the recently adopted solar ordinance, this project was conceived under that ordinance and will meet all of the requirements associated with the ordinance, including setbacks, buffers, landscaping, the soils testing, the bonding requirements, decommissioning plan, etc. The project's a little bit unique in that it's actually in 2 jurisdictions. You can see on the screen you have on the left side a portion of the site that is within the town of Viola. So about 2/3 of the site is in the town of Viola, and about 1/3 is actually in the county on the right side of the yellow hatch. You can see the red line there, and maybe I forget how to do this on here. That's where I can touch the screen. There we go. That red line is the demarcation line between the county and the town of Viola. The project's actually been in front of the town of Viola. It's been through a number of public meetings, I think 4. Mr. Redding is here and actually processed the application through the town. If there's specific questions about that, he can answer those. But on November 4th, the town of Viola did approve the application with some conditions. We've emailed Sarah Kiefer, the planning director, those conditions, and would be amenable to any of those conditions being added to conditions on the county portion of the project. I think the conditions are very similar, in fact, to your code anyway. But just additional kind of get your bearing straight, East Evans is down here. We have Howard Street there, and we have Temple Street located right there. Total property is about 21.6 acres. This shows you the configuration of the solar array. It is a ground mount system, which you are used to. Access is from East Evans. You can see the access point right there. The entire facility is fenced. One of the conditions that Viola had asked is that the fence extend down the access road to East Evans, so that we have included that. We also have a green mesh on the fence as well. Again, that was something to help with the visual barrier. And then there's this green hatch shows you a 25-foot landscape buffer around the entire perimeter of the project. Again, this is just highlighting the landscape buffer, which is consistent with your code. Your code spells out exactly what that buffer is supposed to be, and this project will meet that requirement. Just showing you a number of images so you can kind of see on this key map up here, that arrow here is showing an image of what this site would look like from East Evans Road. You can see the facility set back quite a bit, and of course the landscape screening that the county requires will provide the visual barrier. In addition to that, the mesh on the fence. And the mesh on the fence is held up from the bottom. Talk about that a little bit when we get to the fencing to allow animal migration and what have you that we've talked about in the past. Just showing from this direction there, from right there. showing from this direction here, and then from this direction on the other side. And then just some additional pictures of the screening. 7-foot tall fence, which is typical. As before, and as you've seen before with our applications, it is a 4-inch 4x4 wire mesh fence. It will have openings every 100 to 150 feet to allow for animal migration. The only difference with this one is the mesh, green mesh, to just add that additional visual barrier, but again, holding the mesh up from the bottom so that animal migration can still happen. This has come up a number of times. I think one of the objectors had raised concerns about property values. I know you've heard this before. There's been a number of studies done, and if there's specific questions, Mr. Redding can come up and speak to those, but there's been a number of studies done that show that these facilities do not have a negative impact on property values. And while we are here, we've had a lot of community engagement. It started with the town of Viola through its process. In the 4 meetings that have happened, there's been dozens of people that have been able to attend those meetings. We then had the outreach through this process. 43 neighbors are notified through the county process, notification requirements. We did receive 3 objections from the community, and they really went, and if they're here, they can speak to it. But one was just didn't know much about solar, didn't understand it, wanted to know more, might be okay with it. So hopefully we were able to talk a little bit, hopefully they were able to learn something about that. The trees, and wanted to have the visual barrier, make sure that was good. And then one was concerned about the just farmland, loss of farmland. So, but out of 43 notifications, 3 objections received. This is just a copy of the Town of Viola approval letter, which we've shared with staff, and again are amenable to those conditions being included as well. And I mean, just to go through those very quickly, one condition was just making sure there's regular maintenance of the grass area between the fence and the road. And really that's because the town of Viola has and you do too, just a maintenance requirement, like most municipalities. Extending the fence along the entrance road to East Evans, which we do, and just advising the town as to the type of trees that will ultimately be installed, and that everything is inspected by the county. They wanted to have that. And then the soils testing, which you already have in your code anyway. So those were the conditions, and we're fine with those being conditions of this approval, if you so choose. We did receive the staff's planning report. We've reviewed that. We have no objection to any of the recommendations in there, and the staff did recommend approval. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Before I turn it over to my fellow commissioners, I have a couple questions. The benefit of this green energy will go to where?
Let Mr. Redding answer that particular question.
Okay, we'll hold up on that then. We'll let you stay there. The other point I see, I've seen something pretty unique on here, the potential gravel walking path, and it says membership only. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm going to have to punt that one to Mr. Redding. There was some conversation with the town about a community project. At one point, there was discussion about a path, but I believe that it's been decided that that's not something they want, and there'll be a separate community project that's done, and Mr. Redding can
So it really doesn't, it won't exist?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I'd love the other gentleman to come up and give us his name and address, and he can be sworn in. I think we have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Mr. Peterman first.
On that 40-some people that you canvassed and talked to in that neighborhood, is that the population of houses around that? Did you go to all the houses around that area, or did you just pick one street?
No, so it's based on the Kent County notice requirements of notification of everyone within 200 feet, I believe, of the property. So anybody within 200 feet of the perimeter of the property receives a written notification of the project, and then they have an opportunity to respond to that, and we received the 3 responses.
Okay. Did you have any kind of community meeting with them?
Most of the meetings we had were through the town of Viola's process, where we had a lot of folks come out, and Mr. Redding managed that process, and he can speak to those details.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other commissioners, including Mr. Davis on the phone, have any questions? Okay, hold up a minute. We'll let Mr. Garvey go ahead with his questions.
A couple of questions. I think you actually answered them, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear. In terms of the staff recommendations, you said that you were okay with those. So on one of the items having to do with pollinators and ground cover, we were okay with that, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then the other one having to do with the lighting, we're okay with that as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then the follow-up question on that is that since the majority of this project is happening in the town of Viola, are the recommendations that you will be adhering to on the part that is in Kent County jurisdiction, would that also be the same criteria that you would maintain in the Viola section? So, for example, whatever you do with pollinator coverage on the one portion, you're going to do through the whole site. Everything is going to be whole site, and there's going to be a continuity or harmony amongst all these recommendations.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Does Mr. Davis have any questions, Mark?
No, sir. Good.
I assume this solar is going to be the stand-up type and not the flat type like we saw previously?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, well, anybody else have any questions? Thank you, sir. We'll have the other gentleman come up, give us his name and address. Like I said, he already knows what my question is, so we'll be able to address that.
Michael Redding, 20 Trafalgar Square, Nashua, New Hampshire.
Mr. Redding, do you swear or affirm, sir, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
My question is, where is the solar green benefit going to where or what district?
Right, so it's a community solar project, so it'll go into the grid, and then we'll have to work with subscriptions for that power. So right now, we're offering an opportunity for the abutters and the local town residents to get a discount on their electricity. So we're working very closely to make sure that they can benefit from that. And then whatever is left over, we'll be looking for, kind of beyond the local community to try to get someone to buy the rest of the power. So
Yeah, because we've heard them before, going miles away and benefiting other areas, so I'm glad to hear that. Any other commissioners have any questions for this gentleman? If not, thank you very much. Appreciate your presentation. Thank you very much.
very good.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of this project and would like to come to the mic? Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this project or on the phone? Raise your hand and you can.
Okay, Tyler, you can unmute your mic and give us your name and address for the record.
Hi there. This is Tyler Anaya. I'm at 103 East Howard Street, Viola, Delaware, 19979.
Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I actually, I am related to the Dills. I am June Stevens' daughter. So I am actually residing in her home, which is up at the corner of Howard Street and Temple Street. So the map that you're looking at, I'm at the top left corner. So this is something that I've been, because obviously most of the family members don't live on site, I've been working kind of with ECA Solar to go around and talk to people that live here in the neighborhood too. So I know, Mr. Peterman, I know that was one of your concerns was how did you guys try to talk to people, and did you try to talk to objectors to find out what the issue was? And I did. I really I tried to make a good faith effort of tracking people down and going and knocking on their doors and calling people and making sure that they knew that there were meetings for the town, so that way if they did want to meet with ECA Solar, they'd be here in town. You can talk to them, ask them questions, whatever. And really from talking to people, everybody seemed very supportive that I talked to, especially the people that are right there abutting the project. The only concerns that I really ever heard back from anybody was really just, we don't want things to change. And I mean, I know everybody kind of feels that way, that you see a big piece of farmland and you don't want it to change and you don't want it to develop, but unfortunately this the property owners, they've decided that this is a great opportunity for them, and they have to make the best decision for them. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that we really did try to talk to people and tried to make sure that they were comfortable with whatever was coming on and knew what was happening too.
We certainly thank you for your presentation. I'll open it up to commissioners. Anybody have any questions for this young lady? Thank you again. Appreciate your comments.
I think
Third and final call. Is there anyone here that's in favor of this project and would like to speak? We'll now go to the against. Is there anyone here that's against this project and would like to come to the microphone to speak? Anyone here against this project and would like to speak? On the phone, I think we might have somebody. Go ahead, Mark.
For those who are joining us via the phone, if you would like to speak in favor or in opposition to this application, please indicate by pressing *3 on your phone device. Mr. Chairman, I see no hands raised online at this time.
Thank you very much. So the third and final call for anyone here against this project and would like to speak. Be taking this project up next week. Second project on our meeting tonight is application entitled C-23-02, Lance Maffa. Applicant is Lance Maffa, 17750 South DuPont Highway, Harrington, Delaware, 19952. Owner is Suburban Propane LP, 1 Suburban Plaza, 240 Route 10 West, Whippany, New Jersey, 07981. Additional contact is Gilbert Myers, 1056 South State Street, Dover, Delaware, 19901. Property location, 17750 South DuPont Highway, Harrington, Delaware, 19952. Present zoning district is BG, General Business, IL, Limited Industrial, and IG, General Industrial. Relation to the growth zone is inside. Present use is vacant commercial building. Proposed use is a pawn shop. Levy Court District is the 6th, Mr. Hertz. School District is Lake Forest. Fire District is Harrington, Station 50. Area and location is 3.4 plus or minus acres located on the west side of South DuPont Highway, Delaware Route 13, approximately 90 feet north of Fairgrounds Roads, south of Harrington. Is there someone here to represent this project?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Don't scare me like that. I have enough. If you'll give us your name and address, you can either be sworn or affirmed.
Lance Maffa, 1173 Judith Road, Hartley, Delaware.
Mr. Moffitt, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
I do.
Proceed.
Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, so in the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen of the Planning Commission, we've been before this body of government in the past in 2019, and we followed all state, local, and federal laws, remain compliant, and remain compliant to this day. We appreciated you then. We hope to appreciate you in the near future. You'll be putting 5 Kent Countyans to work full-time and 3 Kent Countyans to work part-time. We have a very solid business model. We would like to invite anybody from the Planning Commission or staff to come into our site at 4008 South DuPont Highway, and feel free to take a look at our business model, our operations, and our professionalism. We'd appreciate your consideration in moving forward with our project, and we thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. Any commissioners have any questions for this individual or on the phone, Mr. Davis?
No.
Mr. Garvey?
Just one question. Under the staff recommendations with and pertaining to the outside storage, did you have a chance to read that, and is that okay with you?
We're not going to have any outside storage, sir. It will all be contained inside.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? If not, once again, I thank you, and we appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that's in favor of this project and would like to speak? Third and final call. Is there anyone else here or on the phone that's in favor of this project and would like to speak?
If there's anyone joining us online and you'd like to speak in favor of this application, please indicate by pressing *3 on your phone. See no hands raised at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll go to the against side. Is there anyone here that's against this project and would like to speak and come to the mic? Anyone here that's against this project? Third and final call. Anyone here against this project and would like to speak?
Similarly, if you're joining us by phone and would like to speak in opposition to this application, please indicate by pressing *3 on your phone at this time. See no hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We'll be taking this project up next week. Our third application tonight, an ordinance, is ordinance number LC 23-01. Application number and name is CZ-2301 Scarborough. Applicants/owners is Dean and Kelly Scarborough. 689 Warner Road, Milford, Delaware 19963. Present use is motorcycle sales and repair. Present zoning comp map designation is BG, general business, highway, commercial. Proposed zoning is AC, agriculture conservation, low density residential. Relation to the growth zone is inside. Levy Court District is the 4th District. School District is Milford. Fire District is Milford, Station 42. Area and location is 1.0 plus or minus acres located on the east side of Warner Road, approximately 2,191 feet west of North DuPont Boulevard, and approximately 3,489 feet east of Bowman Road, northwest of Milford. Is there someone here to represent this application?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mark, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Scarborough, please give us your name and address and be sworn in by our attorney.
Dean Scarborough, 689 Warner Road, Milford, Delaware.
Mr. Scarborough, do you swear or affirm, sir, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Go right ahead with your presentation.
Well, I had this business established 22 years ago, and I am ready to retire, so I just want to turn it back into residential so I can make it my home.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was there a few years back and looked at a snowmobile one time to buy, so I know exactly where you're at.
Right.
And very unusual for somebody with BG to come back to us to rezone back to an AC, but we certainly compliment you on that. Is there anyone here has any questions? Anyone on the commission or Mr. Davis? I guess we see none. I'll open it up to the public then. Is there anybody here in the audience or on the phone that would like to speak in favor of this application?
If anyone is joining us by phone, please press *3 to be recognized at this time. I see no hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Third and final call for anybody that would like to be for this project. Seeing none, we'll go over to the against. Is there anyone here that would like to speak against this particular rezoning? Would like to speak against? Third and final call. Would like to speak against?
Similarly, if you're joining us by phone, please press *3 to raise your electronic hand, and we'll let you into the meeting. I see no hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We'll be taking this project up next week.
Thank you very much.
Our fourth project tonight and fourth on our business list of the agenda is actually plan number and title SL-23-01 Weber Farm. Location, located on the north side of Roseville Road, County Road 387, 1,300 feet west of Carpenter Bridge Road, County Road 35 west of Frederica. Owner is David L. Weber. Trust of D.B. Weber, David L. Weber, and trust of J. Weber, 6411 China Back Lane, Meggett, South Carolina, 449. Applicant is K. Havanian, Delaware Division Incorporated, 2499 South DuPont Boulevard, Suite 6, Smyrna, Delaware, 19977. Present zoning district is AC, Agriculture Conservation. Levy Court District is the 4th, Mr. Scott. School District is Lake Forest. Fire District is Federico, Station 49. Size of the site is 140.6 acres, plus or minus. Number of proposed lots is 203 single-family lots. Active open space is 2.5 acres, plus or minus. Total open space is 60.2 acres, plus or minus. Stormwater management area is 3.6 acres, plus or minus. Wetland area is 16.0 acres, plus or minus. Total acres within woodlands is 53.66 acres, plus or minus. Average lot size is 11,649 square feet. Minimum lot size is 10,000 square feet. Maximum lot area is 23,864 square feet. Maximum impervious coverage is 35%. Relation to the gross zone is inside. Density is 1.44 units per acre. Streets are public to be constructed according to Delaware Division of Highways specifications. Water is public artesian. Sewer is public Kent County. Is there someone here to represent this project? Come to the mic and give us your name and number and be sworn in.
Good evening. I also have a copy of the presentation in paper form if you guys need that.
You can hand that to Sir and it'll be passed out.
My name is Jonathan Content. I'm a land planning manager with K. Hovnanian Homes of Delaware. My home address is 328 North Down Drive, Dover, Delaware, and our office address is 2499 South DuPont Boulevard, Suite G, Smyrna, Delaware.
Mr. Content, greetings, sir. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Go ahead with your presentation.
All right. You've already covered a lot of the information that will be in this presentation. So a lot of the information that you've already covered is in the site data, but just to give you a little bit of background that's not in this, K. Hovnanian is a national home building company. We've been in Delaware for probably close to 20 years. We build in all 3 counties in Delaware, and we build all over the eastern shore of Maryland as well. Like I said, most of the information that you brought up about site data is on this slide. A couple of things that I wanted to point out is that we are inside the growth zone overlay, and we do have existing Kent County sewer main on site, which is highlighted on this map by the orange line. And the electric is provided by Delaware Electric Co-op. Here's a map that shows the stars where this property is. You can see the purple boundary for the growth overlay, which is from the 2018 Kent County Comprehensive Plan. And you can see that this whole area is slated for low-density residential. And while we're not looking at this time to use TDR, it is also a primary receiving zone for the transfer of development rights. So to get on to our proposed plan, again, you covered a lot of this. This shows our conformance to the Kent County standards for setbacks, lot areas. We're allowed up to 3 dwelling units per acre, but in keeping with the low density, we're going to be right around 1.44. And there's no change in zoning necessary. Here's a rendering of our site plan. As we're planning to proceed with it, you can see that it enters off of Roseville Road with a main entrance, and then we stub into Weatherstone Crossing to the north of the property. We are planning for a number of amenities for the residents of this area. The primary amenity, which is centrally located, will be a 2.5 acre open space. There's almost 1,900 feet of walking path or sidewalk in this area. One thing that's interesting to note is that if you walked around the outside of the football, it's roughly a 1/4 mile. So for anybody looking to do laps or things like that, it works out fairly well to be pretty accurate as to keeping track of how many laps you've got. You can see there's a number of parking spaces along that area. There's a dog park, a gazebo, benches, and a tot lot. I have been in communication with Lake Forest School District's transportation director, and the star right above where it says gazebo is where we're proposing to have a school bus stop. And we have, in our communication with the school district, they think that that's a great location. It allows the buses to come in, make a left turn, make a right. All the kids can hang out in that open space or near the gazebo if the weather is not to their liking, and they can enter on the door side of the school bus, which is exactly what they've planned on doing everywhere else, and then they can just head right on out of the development. So it kind of makes it very efficient for them in a good central location. We're also planning a tot lot. This is an example of a tot lot that we could put in. We haven't made any final determinations as to what this will look like. A lot of that will be left up to the vendor that we use to install this. But here's one example. And for the dog park, we're planning to put some benches in there and have a fenced-in area. I believe the dog park is just under half an acre, but it's something that's becoming very popular throughout the county as well as the state. And then here are some examples of the gazebo that we're planning to locate in the center of that area. And then if you look off to the northwestern corner of the main site plan, you'll see that there's a stormwater retention pond with a path that goes around it. And we've noted on there that we're planning to put some form of a pergola and or benches in that area. So as you're walking around the community, if you want to sit and just soak everything in, there'll be a good opportunity to do it right there in that open space. On this plan, I apologize for all of the black and white, but I wanted to highlight all of the interconnected trails and sidewalks. There's a lot. I know in my own community, when we go out and we walk the dogs, our neighbors are out walking around, everybody's looking for a good network of sidewalks and paths, and this is carried throughout the community. So for those early morning or late afternoon joggers or dog walkers, there's plenty of area for everybody to walk around without bumping into each other. And you've touched on all of these open space calculations. We are preserving quite a bit in the forested area that we're not touching. There's a decent amount of wetland at the center part of the site. You can see that there's a road crossing through the wetland, and we're proposing to build over top of where there's already the Kent County sewer main that's crossing that area. So our disturbance will be limited in that area. And then our site entrance will be another limited disturbance, which of course we'll have to seek permits, wetland permits for those crossings. And we're maintaining the 100-foot stream buffer and the 25-foot wetland buffer all the way around the site. And with that, I open up to any questions.
Before I turn it over to the other commissioners, the staff recommendations on page 5 of 9 about the reconfiguring and redesign of lots 162 through 177, and also about the pathway between lots 146, 147, 36, 137. Do you have comments on the staff recommendations?
What I will do at this time is, if you don't mind, turn it over to our site engineer, Charlie Barnett, who's here with us from MRA, and he can answer the questions.
Hold right up a minute then. I'll ask the commissioners if we have any questions of you first. To grill you at the mic, get you broke in. Is there any other commissioners here or Mr. Davis on the phone? Paul, you got a question? Go ahead.
All right, I have a question about the one entrance exit. I see a couple, looks like stub roads up on the map.
Correct.
Where do they empty into? I can't tell.
On the west side of the property?
Yes.
They go to an empty field, but our requirement is to put those stubs in every several hundred feet. So for now, they'll just be dead-end roads, and if at some point in the future someone develops the field next to it, the stub will be there to connect.
Yeah, that seems like a great idea to be in that ahead of time before it's even developed. I've seen instances where there's an accident at the entrance and all traffic was blocked on both lanes, and I'm afraid if there's a fire or something, there's no other way in.
There are two forms of primary ingress and egress here. Of course, the main entrance, and then directly northwest of there, that road that it's currently shown only as lot lines is actually constructed at the back of Weatherstone Crossing. So that would be another point of egress. And of course, in an emergency situation, not that I would recommend it, you could drive into the field next to it, but I would imagine most people will get stuck. And then, as you can see, that's a field with a wood line around it. But there are 2 paved ingress and egress options.
Thank you.
That's what I really don't like. I never like these one-ways in because being an active firefighter in the Felton Fire Company, if there's a major incident on that roadway, then we can't get back until these other...
Correct.
Very good on that. I'm glad you're building roads to the outside. Is there any other questions, or Mr. Davis on the phone for this gentleman? Seeing none, we thank you. And you said there's another gentleman that could begin the answer about the staff recommendations.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Hold on a minute. We have a comment from Mr. Mills.
I just got a comment, not a question, but the bus stop that you guys got in here, this is an example of just what we're working on, or what I've been working on for a long time. I am involved with Lake Forest School District, and this is a great example of just what we're trying to get done for all developments that come on board. And you showed it right here. So, I mean, this is a great thing to go in and be able to drive around and come back out.
Yep, and that was actually a design feature that our engineer had recommended, is putting this central amenity right there at the entrance. And in its design, as you can see, as you pointed out, school buses can come in, pick up, drop off, and you don't have to worry about kids crossing to the school bus as it's pulled up there waiting from the opposite side of the road. They can all wait in this open space.
I mean, you guys took the initiative to do this, and it's not even on a major road. Roseville Road is just a minor road going through it. I know this property very well. Back in 1950, my father owned it.
Oh, wow.
I hunted rabbits all over this when I was a kid.
There's certainly a lot of wildlife out there in the northern portion, and it's a little hard to see on this site rendering here, but if you look at the green section, you can see that the property extends to the north. That whole section of wetland will remain untouched. Yep.
Very good. Once again, I thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mills, for your comments. If you have the other gentleman come up, we'll proceed with the engineering part. We'll just have to wait till I get to public comment. Okay, sir, go ahead and give us your name and address and be sworn and affirmed.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Barnett. I'm with Morrison Ritchie Associates, 18 Bolden Circle, Newcastle, Delaware.
Mr. Barnett, do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
Yes, I'd like some answers on those particular staff recommendations on page 5 of 9.
Very good. We'll just go down one by one, I guess. Number 1, the recommendation to have a different kind of planting seed in the open space for a easier maintenance. I don't believe we have any issues with that and would agree to that without any further discussion. No problems there. Agree that's a good idea. For item number 2, to redesign lots 162 to 177 to eliminate the open space in the rear. This is a little difficult to make out on this.
Can we get a blow up on the screen, Mark? Do they have a different one that we can see?
This area where the arrow is, I believe.
Do you actually have the plan? There you go. That's what I want to see. And then blow that up a little bit wherever these lots are at.
If you could shoot me just a little bit to the side, or can I do that here? It's right here is where we want to look. You can see the blue arrow. This is the area in the comment.
Okay.
Great. So it's that open space right there. I would ask that we continue to look at this as we do the final engineering for the project. One possible use for this area in here would be to help collect rainwater and direct it through a swale or some other kind of device out to the road system where it could be collected and diverted to a stormwater management pond. In our dealings with the Kent Conservation District in the past, they prefer to have the
Make sure you keep it there. You go.
I beg your pardon. It's been our experience in the past in dealing with Kent Conservation District that they prefer to have as much as of these facilities in open space, so they don't have to go through, even though you have easements, go through people's yards to maintain or get to those. So that's one main possible use for that area. By all means, as we work through the final stormwater management plans and design of the neighborhood if it turns out that we don't need it for that. We don't need the open space, as you can see from the recommendation report and the information that was provided earlier tonight. We have plenty of open space in the subdivision, so it's not that we're trying to pinch corners here and there and get as much open space as we can. We could easily fill that in, but I would hate to make that something that we all decide upon right now would disappear and then find out through our dealings with the Conservation District. It would be helpful.
Yeah, sir, would you like to comment on this?
We certainly have no objection to it staying. Our concern is, given that it's not being improved, given its unusual shape, homeowners typically will start encroaching.
Okay.
So if there's, which then causes problems with HOAs and
Okay.
gets us involved. If there's a way to demarcate, maybe with landscaping
Okay.
at the rear of those lots, maybe we could allocate some of the trees there.
Okay. I think that's a great idea. I don't see that would be an issue at all. Great.
Number 3?
Number 3, include a walking path area between lots 146, 147. So that area is right here. This one's a little difficult for the site design. Those lots through this strip here are already at the minimum width requirements per the code. As you can see on this plan, everything in red is some kind of walking path being provided through the design of the subdivision. So we have a tremendous amount of walking paths, both within the Del Dot right-of-way, internal subdivision streets. There will be sidewalks down both sides of the streets in this neighborhood. We do have areas where we've provided open spaces between the lots so that these walking paths can meander between the different blocks as much as we're able to fit it in there. But we just are unable to finagle that space in between those lots.
Well, you see where you got the school bus stop, and any of those lots that are west of that, when the kids come walking down the path and stop there, they've got to go either north or south then to get to the school bus stop. And personally, I think it makes sense to have some kind of walking path through there that would get you to that dog park, open space, and where Mr. Mills talked about the school bus stop. You think you can't work with that?
Again, we can try as much as possible. I just, where the layout of the subdivision is a little hindered on either side to widen out those areas. We could work with planning staff as we work on the final design to see if we can trim up some of those lots and fit enough open space to get that path through there.
Well, you have a few days to get back with that, because that is something there that I think is very important.
Okay.
And be able to get back. So, Mr. Mills, you want to say something?
I'd like to make a comment on that, about the path. I run up on this before in other developments. The kids aren't allowed to use it due to the fact that they're going between the houses, and they prefer that the parents have to bring them around to the bus stop. We got that in 2 developments. Now that should be brought up with the school district again, whether you can even have a path going between houses, and that's what it would be here, right?
Yeah, but we're asking them to do away with some lots or reconfigure lots to make a path that would be an actual dedicated walking path to give a greater access to the school bus stop.
Well, I would like bring that up to the schools, see if they allow them to do that, because I do know there's one development right over, just not too far from yours. They got the path going to a section just similar to that one that's way off there to the east, and they don't want the kids using it because they're walking between 2 houses there. They prefer the parents have to bring them around and get them to the bus stop.
I think Mr.
Is that a paved path or a self-made path between houses?
Yeah, this would be a paved path all the way, as we're talking about. Yeah. I would like you to get back with staff and see what you can come up with, see what we have for next week's meeting.
Very good. We'll look at it and get back to you on that one. Thank you.
We appreciate it. We'll give you time on that and then work with what he's talking about there. But
absolutely,
if he actually have a designated path that's paved, I can't see where the school district would disapprove that.
Yeah, I couldn't speak to that one way or the other. No, I just would further point out, I guess, on our behalf, from my point of view, we are providing 40 parking spaces in the area of that bus stop, so there's plenty of areas for parents to drive their kids down to the bus stop and park there. I personally had to walk to school from 6th grade through graduating in 12th, so I have no sympathy for folks that have to walk around the block
I
of houses.
suppose you walked uphill both ways
It
with
was.
no shoes on.
It
I
snowed
know
every
that
day.
now. I can
Every
hear
day it snowed. It was brutal.
I can hear that,
so
yes.
I can see there's a little bit to be said for little physical exercise. To get to
But
and
all
from the school
joking
bus.
aside, please try to
Yes.
address,
No.
get back with us somehow or another if it's completely
Absolutely.
unavoidable not to be able to do it, then, we sit up here with common sense as well as ordinances and all like that we have to address.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we will. Thank you.
So you understand and you're okay with number 4?
Number 4 would, it appears as though in these open areas, such as right here, between these two lots where I'm pointing, there's an open space strip with a sidewalk going through it, a pathway. The recommendation is to provide some fencing along the sides of those two lots, just a section to kind of demarcate that this is no longer part of your property. Okay. If that's the case, then I understand that would be acceptable to the developer. I just wanted to point out it would not be, completely around the perimeter of that open space. We're just talking a strip.
We certainly appreciate your ability to work with us.
Yes.
We thank you very much for that. You have anything else you would like to add?
I don't have anything on the presentation side, but I'd be glad to answer any other questions if there are any.
Yeah, we won't even ask for any
I have a question.
issues for you, so I do have a commissioner that has some questions.
Commissioner Davis, you can
Okay.
proceed.
Thank you. I have a question. Am I reading this blueprint correctly? You have streets in there that's 24 feet wide, is that correct? For example, I see on Bakerton Court and other places, what's the width of the actual travel road itself? And secondly, do you have a recessed curb?
There are 2 different sections of road in this development, both of which are being designed to DelDOT standards. The one is 24 feet wide from the front of curb to the front of curb, not including the rolled curb that's being planned. And then the other DelDOT standard is 32 feet of pavement.
Are you going to have a rolled curbing? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Are you going to allow on-street parking?
Yes,
Are you going to allow people to park out on the street?
yes.
I'm a member of the Federal Fire Company that will provide the fire service to your development. I like your development, but our concern, we have a ladder truck. We have a 104-foot ladder truck, and as you probably know, they have outriggers, and the road, they're hard to get into a small street. I know that's DelDOT standards, I get it, but the roll curbing helps us to some degree if we don't have a bunch of cars parked out on the street. And this has been a major issue for the fire service in Kent County for years, and DelDOT doesn't seem to want to work with us. I'm talking about all the fire companies about making their streets wider. It's a very dangerous situation. That's why I asked if you had roll curbing. So even if with the roll curbing, and we have to set our ladder truck up, the outriggers alone are 16 feet in addition to the truck. So if we have a secondary emergency such as an ambulance, and we have an ambulance that would serve your development, that creates a major problem for us. So that's why I'm asking those questions. I know you're complying with DelDOT standard, which I don't agree with, and neither does the fire service. And at one time, the county tried to get the streets wider, and DelDOT won't do it for several reasons. But I got to look at it from a public safety standard. And so I'm pretty sure I read some of these streets are 24 feet wide, some of them are wider. But that does concern me. I like your development. It's in our fire district. I know you build nice homes. I'm very familiar. I used to know the man that owned the farm that you bought it from. It's a nice area. It's going to be a nice development. But I get a little concerned. What's the width of that street coming in from the road? How wide is that street?
The entrance road is a 60-foot wide DelDOT right-of-way with a 32-foot paved cartway, not
Yeah,
including
okay.
the road curb. And I would like to point out, just for everyone's information as far as considering this, the products being proposed by the developer will have 2-car garages and a 2-car wide driveway for every single lot. So that's potential 4 parking spaces within the lot to help avoid as much on-street parking as possible.
Yeah, we actually did a study about 5 years ago by parking a pickup truck on both sides to see if we could get a regular pumper, a regular 2,000-gallon fire truck through there. Couldn't do it. So that's why I asked that question about the parking, because that presents a major problem. I mean, it could be a life and death situation, but I understand you're complying with DelDOT. I can't change that. That's just the way they are. But I got to look at it from a public safety thing, and I just wanted to ask those questions. And I'm glad that the street going in is a wide street. That's good also, because fire apparatus is pretty big. And you know I'm talking about that. You're talking about garbage trucks that will come in there for pickup, things like that. So I just wanted to clarify that issue if it was 24 feet, and apparently it is. I would hope that they don't park on the street, those 24-foot wide streets, because that is a real serious issue. And thank you very much for your comments.
Does any other commissioners have any comment? And I do understand with the depressed curb, even a 22-foot street would have 26 feet of parking because they can actually go over on the rolled depressed curb. I understand that too. Anybody else have any questions up here? If not, once again, we thank you for your comments and your presentation.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
I open it up to the audience now. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this project? Speak in favor of this project. Second call. Anyone here would like to speak in favor of this project?
If there's anyone joining us by phone or online and would like to speak in favor of this application, please indicate by pressing *3 on your telephone device or your raised hand icon.
I have a question to staff, Bill.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
One question I have of staff, I know one time they were doing it. Does the county send each fire department a set of prints like we get, or is that the obligation of the developer himself? And I don't know. I know at one time we were getting those because we have so much development in the area. I don't know if they still are or not. And if they are getting them, I don't think they're paying attention to it. But does the county send it to the fire department, or does the developer do it?
No, the county notifies the fire departments.
When you say notify, is that the plans, or just send a letter that's going to happen?
No, we send links to the plans to everybody.
You send the plans to each fire department, right?
We send, because
The
everything is
actual
digital.
paper, like I'm looking at right here.
They do not get paper. They get links to the digital plans.
Of the site plan itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we in fact
Okay, thank
do
you.
because we get to look at them. I've seen them before. Okay, there's no one else.
Thank you.
on the phone? You have anything else, Paul?
No, that's it. Thank you.
I'll go over to the against side. Is there anyone here that would like to speak against this project and come to the mic? Ma'am, I think you in the back wanted to speak against the project, correct? Okay, well, you can come to the mic, give us your name and your address. You'll be sworn in, and then you can ask your question.
Okay. Hi, I'm LaSonda Huggins.
Get close to the mic, pull it up to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm LaSonda Huggins. I live in the Weatherstone Crossing, specifically 645 Weatherstone Lane, right? So I'm concerned. I want to know
Excuse
where.
me.
Yes,
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Now you can go ahead with your question, but it has to be to us.
Okay. I live at 645 Weatherstone Lane, right? So behind me, I have a tree buffer. So I'm trying to understand, where is this community buffing up or lining up to Weatherstone Crossing?
Sarah, would you like to answer that?
What's happening with that tree line?
We'll get Mrs. Kiefer to answer this up here.
Is the
you
arrow
is-
in the vicinity? The
Hold
arrow
on,
on the screen.
to the mic, and look up there.
Is that the tree line you're speaking of?
I have no idea
Okay.
if that's Weatherstone Lane or not, so you would have to tell me. But there's a tree line on Weatherstone Lane.
Let me go back to the plan.
And then there's, I guess, where the road along Weatherstone Lane is going to cut in between that road. And is that connecting road now going to be K. Hobb Homes?
I guess you're asking about the development that's to the north of this project, correct? Yeah, they'll be required. As you can see, there'll be a buffer between your development and them. Am I not correct, Sarah?
Yeah, you can see where the red arrow is, where those squiggly lines are. That's tree line.
Specifically, are you able to highlight where Weatherstone Lane is?
Right there, that little circle area.
Right there.
Okay. So is that an additional tree line, or that's the existing one?
I believe that's existing tree line.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? We appreciate your comment. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak against this project and would like to come to the mic? Come right on up, give us your name and address. And you got to remember, staff's always available by phone during the week if you have other additional questions or concerns.
I might
Okay.
have more.
Pull the mic up to you and give us your name and address, please.
It's Joshua Bosenberg and 1931 Roosevelt Road, Felton, Delaware.
Mr. Bosenberg, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Hello. Thanks for hearing me. I've lived there for about 3 years now on Roosevelt Road. I don't have a PowerPoint ready, but
Make sure you're in. Speak to the microphone, please.
I'm on the what used to be the Susan Comegys land there. It would be I would say it would be east of the proposed development here. I'm trying to
Are you in one of the lots up there that Mr. Deputy developed?
I am.
Yeah, there by where Rudy has his house and all
Right
like
next
that?
to Rudy. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I know very well.
Yep. Along with some of my other neighbors, I'll speak for myself and some of them. Another one of my neighbors is also here tonight. We just wanted to express some concern for the neighborhood and some of the reasons why we actually moved out there are soon disappear with the approval of this. Obviously, we're not naive that land gets developed, the county's growing, population's going to grow, but we do want to express our concerns. Maybe we can open up a dialogue with the commission and Horvanian Homes, maybe work through some of those and not go tit for tat for everything, okay? So basically I just wanted to read what I wrote. I had a minimal time to get it together, but if I could read that, I also can furnish a
Go right ahead.
copy of that to you.
I'll cut you off if you get too long.
Yeah,
That'll be okay.
cut me off because I can get rambling.
Go right ahead.
I'm the owner at 1931 Roosevelt Road. It's a resident property adjacent to Weber Farm and the projected new development. The woodland and marshland portion of the Weber Farm of the new development run parallel to my woods and the creek. I do wish I did a PowerPoint. I could get up there with a pointer and show you what I'm talking about, but you can tell by the yellow, it's
up
the yellow
on,
line.
It's right there on the screen, sir, in front of you. It's down there. You can put the arrow on your. There you go. Move it down to where your property's at.
So it's gonna be this yellow line here. This is my house here in the
Okay.
middle next to Rudy. That'll be my property where the arrow is gonna sit. Currently, I hunt my woods. My children play in these woods. Since seeing the notice sign, I logged onto the website, and it shows the current use property across the street, which would be down here. I'd done some diligence, and I kind of knew that development was going to be there. That is also a sea of homes, if not hundreds more homes. But I did move to this area to live in the country, away from the busy streets and roadways. I used a private local builder to construct our home, which is located on approximately 3.2 acres. Understanding the need for new construction for new residents to this area, like I said, I'm just reading this, but the already approved neighborhood across the street on the south is the south of my property. However, I'm completely opposing this new development by Horvanian Homes on the Weber Farm, if not to modify it in a certain way. My first reason, the development will completely change what I use my woods for, and my property. New residents in this development or children will walk these woods and even trespass on the property not belonging to the development. We talked about sidewalks within the development and them not walking in between houses and whatnot. We don't live that way. We walk. I mean, we get along well as neighbors out there now. So this is most always the case. Now, it's either by pure ignorance or simply by not caring about the property lines, but these residents will most likely trespass. I hunt these woods and cannot be certain that the mutual respect will remain if this development is approved. I know, Mr. Mills, you said you grew up there and owned this farm and hunted it. There's ample wildlife out there, but my concern is that it's going to disappear. The protected wetlands will also disappear. My second reason is the impact on the wildlife. I know that several surveyors were in the woods. I guess one of my things I would want to work out is the impact on the wetlands. When any permit I put in for requires the 100-foot buffer from the wetlands. But this is 208 homes. It's going to destroy a beautiful farm, which I would have bought if I had millions, but I don't. But it's going to, I see it eroding those wetlands back there. We already have enough problems with some of the water as it is with the creek. The third reason, I have knowledge in building coming from when I was younger. Our houses are custom homes. Horvanian homes, if I'm saying that right, from what I've seen, and not just to say Horvanian homes, but a national builder usually brings them in on a tractor trailer. They assemble them on site, and just maybe far-fetched, but it seems like 5 houses within a week are erected on the site. I would be concerned about my property value. My neighbors also express the same concerns. They do take comps from the immediate area, which where we are in the immediate area. We have received a letter for being an adjacent property. This is probably the most important, and what my wife and some of the other neighbors I've talked to are concerned about is the infrastructure that can't support the growth of the roadways. It gets more congested every year. Some of you are fire. I've heard some comments about fire related and working in those. Everybody notices it and knows what it's like to live in Felton, and that's going to change, obviously. But this is the reason we moved to that area, to get away from that. It'll literally, this neighbor is going to be in my backyard. So it's going to change a lot with our privacy too. I'm truly concerned for the roadway in front of my residence. In 2022, DelDOT did road construction on Route 15 Canterbury Road for a bridge. I believe it was McCulley's Pond or Coursey's Pond. The detour went down Roseville Road. Like you said, it's an old farm road. That's why we moved there. It was quiet. It was safe for my children. That is going to change. This is going to be an interstate again, like it was during that detour. With 208 homes, that is a astronomical amount of people now living in that area, which will be using that small farm road. I guess we could talk with Horvanian Homes, if they would be open to it, about the plan for future DelDOT or road work. How is it going to infringe on our properties as it is with the right-of-ways? But I do know from my experience that this will create safety hazards for my children that now don't worry about a freeway out in the front yard. That would be a concern of mine and my neighbors as well. So in my closing, I will close now. All the properties constructed on the Comegys property were custom built. They're excellent quality. Upwards of value around $1 million, if not more, on that whole farm, each house. These homes are going to be, and I don't mean to put or any builder down, I just keep the name out of it, but 208 cookie cut homes on the property will hurt our property value. It's going to happen. The only way I look at it is to sit down, have a dialogue, and maybe we can work something out where everybody's happy in the end. That's all I have to say.
We appreciate your comments, and I know this is the only meeting you come to, but every month we deal with DelDOT issues. It seems like every development we get hit up with, the roadways are not have the abilities to be able to take whatever kind of traffic they want to put on it. DelDOT is behind the 8 ball, I know, and I'm not taking up for DelDOT. I'm just agreeing with your comments on that. As far as Mr. Deputy, he was a great builder, and he was actually a past fire chief in Felton. So he had fire company experience also. And we appreciate your comments, and I'm going to open up to the commissioners. Anyone here have any questions or anything? Mr. Davis?
No questions.
Once again, like I said, I know it doesn't help you, but DelDOT is really behind in all the roadways, no matter what they have. I don't even know, but it's amazing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Before I ask for one more complaint, I'd like to have the developer come back. I didn't ask what kind of homes you're building. Are you building homes with basements or concrete slabs or what? I know the soils in that area are quite good. So I just like one brief comment on that. This is not customary. We don't usually do it this way, but I'd like to hear what you say.
Jonathan Content, K. Hovnanian Homes. We're planning single-family homes. Our intention right now is to do basements. We've done some initial soil sampling, and it looks fairly good. Of course, all of that will depend on exactly how the preliminary plans shake out and where groundwater is. But for the most part, the soils are fairly good for drainage.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with that area. I'm not very far from there where I live. So thank you, sir. I will open it up. We have one more question. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak against this project? Anyone else here? Come to the mic, give us your name and address, and you can be either sworn or affirmed.
Good evening. My name's Harry May. I live at 2009 Roseville Road.
Sir, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Go right ahead.
I'm just going to follow along with everything Josh just spoke about. My biggest concern is property values. I'm on the corner of Roseville Road and Carpenter Bridge Road. We've invested tons of money into our homes, and I know the Hovnanian homes, because they're all around, are cheap. I know 5-10 years from now, they're going to be run down, low-income houses. And my biggest concern of all is the roadway in front of my house. If that road's going to get widened, what we're going to have to do there. Also, I've heard rumors about a traffic circle there at that intersection, and that's where my septic system is. And nobody's really told us anything as what's going on, so that's why we're here.
I thank you for your comments. Appreciate your time. Does any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for this individual? Anybody on the phone, Mark? Thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That'll close this project for tonight. We'll be taking it up next week, and thank you for your time. We're now down to any other public comment. Any other public comment or public that's left? Anybody on the phone, Mark?
If there's anyone who would like to make public comments who is joining us online, please indicate by pressing *3 or raising your electronic hand. I see no hands raised at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Any commissioner comments? Mr. Davis or anybody else? Seeing none or hearing none, is there any other business to bring before us tonight? Hearing a none, I will then entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes, to adjourn.
Mr. Servon?
Yes, to adjourn.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Godfrey?
Yes, to adjourn.
Mr. Mills?
Yes, to adjourn.
Mr. Davis?
Yes, to adjourn.
Mr. Jester?
Yes, to adjourn, and thank you all for attending.